First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
YouTube, what's going on? Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all doing safe, staying safe. I do apologize for the late stream, late video. Do apologize, a little tired, so please forgive me. But we're going to persevere. Episode 9 of the podcast. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. In this video, as I stated in the intro that was premiered earlier today, or yesterday, I should say, excuse me. The Colts annihilated the Jets. So I will recap that game at some point tomorrow during episode 10. In this video, again, I'm talking about the Ravens, the Washington football team's first half. I'm going to have my grade for them and for the Ravens as well. Talk about Henry Ruggs. Aaron Rodgers, recap the Wizards. Talk about Scotty Pippen. Made some comments that were very egregious. Things that happened around the NBA, and then some MLB news. And then I'm going to give you a preview for episodes 10 and 11. Okay? So we're going to start with the excuse me while I pull the Washington football team schedule. All right. We're going to start with the Ravens versus the Vikings. So we're coming in off a bye week. This is our fourth last home game stretch. We're going the road. The series between the Ravens and the Vikings are tied at 3 apiece. We won the previous game. It was 24-16. The last time we beat them was back in 2013. I remember that game. It's like I think it was like after my birthday, something like that, where we scored like 5 touchdowns within like the last 125 seconds of the game, which was crazy. It had snowed that day too. I remember. The final score was 29-26. Joe Flacco, he threw the game with a touchdown to Marlon Brown. That's who it was. I'm looking at a couple things. I want to see how the defense looks, particularly with the injuries. I know we faced some challenges. Some of the press conferences I've seen with Harbaugh, he's definitely emphasized better techniques. We're going to have to figure out to prevent the key playmakers that Minnesota has. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, they're both playmakers and they're physical. So we're going to have to figure out how to contain that. Dalvin Cook is a physical runner. We all know who the type of way he can break, of a dynamic running back that he is. Kirk Cousins is the thing coming into this game has thrown, I want to say, a little over 1,900 yards. It's 14 touchdowns. The last time I checked the NFL.com stats, and he's thrown 2 picks. But defensively, we're giving up 296 yards per game. And it's not looking good defensively for Baltimore. Now, on the opposite side, Baltimore's offense, we're going against a very, very inconsistent defense. Minnesota's 21st against the run. The average, I think it was like 121 yards per carry. And they're 18th against the pass, which is like 245, 246, something like that. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I know it's around that number. Lamar Jackson, say what you want. I think he's in that conversation for MVP. He's definitely held his own. I will say this, that the Ravens – the others around Lamar Jackson have to step up. The running game has been, for the most part, I say very disappointing. I know Devontae Freeman, Le'Veon Bell are not what they are before. I know Latavius Murray's coming back, but Lamar Jackson is leading the team in rushing. I think it's like 480 yards with two touchdowns. He's thrown over for 1,900 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He's been sacked, though, 21 times. And that's not – and, again, an offensive line that, again, we don't have Ronnie Stanley, who's out for the season. I know we're getting back Ben Cleveland. Patrick McCarry's supposed to be back. We just got – the offensive lineman from the Seattle Seahawks, Cedric something. I cannot pronounce his last name. Please forgive me. So he's taking some hits, and also he's dealing with the back problem. I know that since we beat Kansas City. We're getting a lot of key players back. Sammy Watkins is coming off injury. I'm just hoping that I see some type of difference with some of these reinforcements. I do. I gotta see what they look like. I know Minnesota, they're coming off. I know they're going to be kind of motivated after blowing that lead against the Dallas Cowboys. Mike Zimmer, for the most part, I think we can all say he's on the hot seat. I still think Baltimore is the best team to win this game. I still think they could win the AFC North. Because right now, Cleveland's not what I thought they were. Pittsburgh, they're going to fight. Cincinnati, I think they're still young. I think they're still I see some immature moments, but I think that I see the Ravens winning this game. I'm looking along the lines of 30-17.
Guaranteed.
Now, to grade the first half of the Ravens. So, the one positive, I'll start with the offense. So, the passing game, for the most part, I say it's held its own pretty well. I see what the offense can be. I think for this year, I think we're trying to find what the identity is. And when you come in, when you're 5-2, and where you're down now 3 running backs, and you have a group of veterans that really, I think, are having a hard time adjust. And Tyshawn Williams is not getting touches on the ball because I just don't think he's just not. We're not seeing the results. Hollywood Brown, this is his 3rd year. He's looking a little better. Mark Andrews is, we just paid him. He's starting to come alive. Sammy Watkins, Rashard Bateman. I can't forget about Duvernay Poche. I will also say that when it's counted the most, we've stepped up. I'd say we've had very clutch moments. Kansas City was an example. Detroit was an example. Justin Tucker. And being Indianapolis in overtime where they didn't even touch the ball. We were down in that game, and the fourth quarter we came back, and Lamar Jackson, they took away the run game, and Lamar Jackson won the game, throwing off the passing game, won us that game. So I'd say for the most part, I would say our identity as of now is passing, because the running game it's not what I thought it was. I wasn't expecting Devontae Freeman or Le'Veon Bell and Murray to come in here and just run on guys, but because if you understand historically, Baltimore's never been a passing team. Our bread and butter has always been running the football. So, we'll just see how it looks. Okay, now the offensive line this all season. It feels like to me, it seems like we're playing musical chairs. Let me say this. It bothers me that he's not here, but I understand it. Orlando Brown Jr. wants to be a left tackle. Okay. He wanted, when you're a Pro Bowler, particularly last year, he knows he wasn't going to get the same money like Ronnie Stanley did. And it bothers me. This is not directed at Orlando Brown Jr., but it bothers me that the mindset is we're thinking of ourselves and not the team. Because I think Orlando Brown would have really been a big. There would have been some stability on this line. From what I saw in 2019, I think that offensive line was, in my personal opinion, one of the best. I know Zettler is coming to. We knew the risk of trading Orlando Brown Jr. Ronnie Stanley played a couple games and was not ready to come back. To get another ankle surgery and only played one game, that's what it was. That's 2 Pro Bowl tackles gone. Let me just give you this offensive line that we've had to work with. Alejandro Villanueva, Patrick McCarry, Tyree Phillips, Ben Cleveland. Now we're just getting this guy off the from the Seahawks. It's just been Villanueva's done okay playing on the right side, but the left side, it's just been a different story. McCarry and Phillips have been playing the right side, and injuries. Ben Cleveland, injuries. There's now that's a need that's going to have to be filled in the draft. I'm hoping the bye week really kind of got some things going. That's disappointing. The ability to tackle is another thing. Besides, I'd say the only game where we looked like to me, where I thought we had it all together was against the Chargers. Other than that, I have seen tackling. I've seen tackling that's just abysmal. For example, where Jonathan Taylor, that 75-yard opening drive. Ja'Marr Chase, not last Sunday, Sunday before, for 200, just roasted us for 201 yards. We've been giving up very big plays, and that's disappointing. As particularly with Martindale's defense, we're not susceptible to that. And I know, Marcus Peters isn't there. Anthony Averett has stepped up as best he can. We get Chris Westry back. Brandon Williams is not what I thought he was. He's been really disappointing. Patrick Queen's doing too much. There's a lot. And I'm hoping that this bye week got this team focused, got their minds right, and got them and understand what's at stake. I said Cincinnati's an up and coming, Cleveland's coming. But the first half of the season has shown me that what the Ravens can do. The Ravens are going to continue to go out there and play Raven football. They are. So I'm going to say they're going to get a B- for me. Now, really quick, let me pull up their schedule. Because the second half of the season is a little tough. But I think Baltimore can persevere. Now, you've got, after the Sunday, you've got Miami, Chicago, Cleveland twice, Pittsburgh twice, Green Bay, Cincinnati, the Rams. They're all, maybe besides Los Angeles is going to be tough, but that's a home game. Green Bay, that's a home game. I think it's weird we have to play Cleveland on the 28th of this month, December 5th, Pittsburgh, go back to Cleveland the next week and play them in Cleveland, and then come back home day after Christmas. We play Cincinnati. Day after New Year's, we play Los Angeles, and we finish the year off against Pittsburgh at home. They're all winnable games. I think Baltimore will be all right in the second half. I think the biggest thing is we got to stay healthy, and I'm a little disappointed Eric DeCosta didn't go out there and fetch, see what he could get. I was a little disappointed with that. So. Malik Harrison was shot in Cleveland, non-life threatening, as said he was doing fine. So it's good to know, that he's making a recovery. He's going to be out for at least a couple weeks, for sure. But he was struck in the left calf by a stray bullet. He was exiting a club. That's what happened. So it's good to know he's doing all right. And just continue to pray for him and those that were involved. But the most important thing is that he's alive. Malik Harrison is a good player. I'm going to really quick give my thoughts and prayers to Tom Mack, former Baltimore Colt, Raven, Maryland Terp, and college football broadcaster, passed away. CFL, for the Baltimore Stallions, passed away at the age of 82. He started out as a quarterback at The Ohio State University. Then when he was with the Baltimore Colts, he was a halfback. And he was an emergency quarterback when Johnny Unitas and Gary Cusio went down with injuries. He's definitely inspired a lot of people, particularly in the Baltimore area, when it comes to being an analyst. I know he, for a few years, worked with Scott Gorseau. Let me just read the statements by Steve Bisciotti. Tom became an important member of the Ravens family as soon as we arrived in Baltimore. For 10 years, he served as an analyst on our radio team with the highlight of calling Super Bowl 2000. A multi-talented football star, Tom was a member of 2 Baltimore Colts championship teams. Fans from both the Colts and Ravens loved him dearly. He was a legendary figure in this community and the football world. We extend our deepest sympathies to his wife, Judy, and their family. That's from the Ravens, and Steve Bisciotti said Tom was one of this community's heroes. I remember being so excited to meet him at the Colts training camp when I was a kid. The way he embraced us was truly special. Many years later, when the Ravens came to Baltimore in '96, it was amazing to see our team embrace him. Tom will be greatly missed, and I send my heartfelt condolences to Judy and his family. So as his career stats, I pulled it up. 4,646 yards, 45 touchdowns, 12 seasons, all with the Baltimore Colts. He was the first to rush for 100 yards in the Super Bowl, and unfortunately, we lost to the New York Jets in Super Bowl III in 1969. Let it go, Nathan. So, man, rest in peace, Tom Matt. Mate, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I've heard him on a couple times on the radio. My dad's told me many stories about him. My dad told me the impact that he's had on football. When we had the Baltimore Stallions, Ravens, the Terrapins, he's definitely made an impact in the community, and he's definitely inspired many guys like Bruce Cunningham, Morgan Adsit, Scott Gorseau, Mark Viviano, so many others have looked up to him, and I just want to give my thoughts and prayers out to his family. My sincere condolences. We're going to move on to the Washington football team. So, just for the record, we're on a bye week, so there's no football this week for Washington. Ron Rivera made it vehemently clear. Not vehemently, excuse me. We're not getting time off. We're going to be practicing. We're going to be studying film. We're going to be evaluating ourselves. We're tied for third place. We're 2-6. We lost to the Denver Broncos, a team that we should have beaten. When the season started, on paper, Washington had a case to be one of the best teams in the NFC, particularly defensively. Here we are at 8 games later, and now I feel like Now there's issues. I see no accountability. I see no continuity. I see no identity. Um, I see lack. I see a lot of lack. Um, when you have a running back that's leading in receiving yards, something's wrong with that. Tyler Heineke is merely a backup, more like a game manager. Your defensive line has pretty much been the most only bright spot on that defense. I'm looking at coaching. Oh my gosh. I mean, some of the off-season the additions we got. Charles Leno, he's, to me, I think he's held up his own end of the deal. DeAndre Carter's I think he's done pretty well, particularly for a return man, and he's filled a few times at wide receiver. I think he's done well. Sam Cosmi, he started 5 games and he's looked pretty well. But Washington hasn't gotten a lot from the additions. Fitzpatrick got hurt. Curtis Samuel has gotten hurt. Willie Jackson has also dealt with injuries too. Jamin Davis and Brandon St. Just, I know I see growing pains, and it's part of the game, but I think a lot of it starts with coaching. Oh my gosh. We need to find a new kicker. We do. Chris Blewett, 3 of 5, and he's terrible. He had 2 field goals blocked in that game against Denver. I don't know if it was a poor snap. I don't know what it is. It ain't working. It really isn't. I know Rivera said in the press conference that he's going to look over every position during the bye week. And hopefully, I'm also crossing fingers that some of the guys on IR that we have will come back as well. It's just been – it has been disappointing. What's next? The defense. The defense, okay. Even though the defensive line is a bright spot, excuse me, something in my eye is bothering me. There seems like there's a hard time to create pressure. The secondary. I mean, William Jackson III, Bobby McCain, Landon Collins. I mean, they're getting roasted. I think, we're talking communication. I'm going to go as far as saying technique, everything. I looked the stat up. This was a stat I saw on Twitter. Washington has allowed 52 explosive pass plays. And we've given up the second most touchdowns, 20-plus yards. Man, I don't know. I really don't know if it's, the style of Del Rio's defense. Because Jack Del Rio's defense is, ladies and gentlemen, if not, they're respectable. They really are. But this defense, man, it just I don't know. I really don't know if it's just style of play. Maybe it's something they're not. I don't know. I really don't know. Injuries. Injuries have hurt us as a team. Sam Cosmi's missed 3 games with ankle injury. Brandon Sheriff has missed 4 games with a knee injury. And then Chase Rulier is out for the season with a fractured fibula suffered against Denver. I mean, and then Curtis Samuel dealing with a groin injury. And then you got Logan Thomas. He's been out with a hamstring injury since playing against Atlanta. I mean, and then also too to add to make matters worse, Montez Sweat is out with what was it? I think it was a fractured jaw.
Relationship with your children.
My God.
I mean, listen. With all due respect, we're holding this team with gum and paper clips. And I can't. And you got to give Heineke some credit. I mean, Fitzpatrick, we didn't really see what he could look like. You know, when you get injured in your season opening loss with a hip dislocation. I mean, I like Heineke. He's trying. He really is. I can see it. But I see his flaws. You know, the throw making to, you know, his decision making as a quarterback. I get it. And God bless him. He's doing the best he can. But I mean, I'm looking at Washington's schedule. Like, we've got outside of Tampa Bay, Carolina, Seattle, Oakland, Dallas, Philadelphia, and New York. They're winnable games, in my opinion. But the first half of this season, and we C plus. I think Washington will get it. I think we'll get it together, but my God, it just there's just nothing to build off on. I mean, we're looking like a lottery pick team out there. We are. I'm gonna transition into Mr. Harry Ruggs III. So we all know what happened. Arrested for DUI, having the BAC well over the limit of what it is supposed to be in Las Vegas, was going well over 140 miles an hour, killed somebody. We understand. We let me say this. First off, I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the young woman that was lost in this unfortunate accident. Henry Ruggs could also too get another DUI charge, second felony DUI charge because of his girlfriend that also sustained injuries in the car. From what I know, Wednesday he was released from the detention center where he was held. I think it was like on a $150,000 bond. Tuesday night, Las Vegas had cut him. His BAC was 0.16. That's twice the legal limit. And also, today they found a firearm in his car. He was driving 156 miles per hour. Then when he hit, after the airbags deployed, he reached almost 130 miles an hour. Words. First and foremost, I'm angry. I'm upset. I have mixed emotions. Because, one, a life was taken away. Number two, we have these things now called Lyfts and Ubers. Pride, obviously, was another that played another role in this. What would make you think it is okay to, with a BAC of 0.16, get behind your nice Corvette like that? Because I know we hear this. This is why we don't drink and drive, and this is what we don't, all this other things. But here's the thing. I have to look at it like this from both sides. He's 22. He has to now, for the rest of his life, live with the fact that he is responsible for taking someone's life away by making a poor choice. It was not a smart choice. We know that. He was the breadwinner for his family. His football career could possibly be over. We don't know what he's going to get, but we can say probably it's over. Now, I mean, they may show a sign of good faith, and hopefully, they give show some type of leniency to give him a second chance. But he has to take accountability. Not only do we have to think about the victim's family in this, because they lost a daughter, sister, cousin, niece. Think about his family too. They're confused, angry, sad, because here's somebody that is fulfilling their dream. And this mistake has cost them that. Look at it from both sides of the both perspectives of both of both families. When he walks in that courtroom, he has to face not only her family but his family too. There's hurt from both sides. Now everybody forgives and heals differently and mourns differently. I would hope that this is an opportunity for his family and the victim's family to come together and really, and not just them, other groups that are particularly against drinking and driving, and send a strong message. Like, listen, this is not just for athletes. This is for everyday people like you and I. Because again, he could have 2 DUI charges. So he has one, but he can have a second one pending against him. But think about what's going through his head. Please, and you can disagree with me, and that's okay. We can be diverse in thinking. Think about the support that he needs through this. Think about it's going to dwell on him, the mental effect that, man, I really killed someone and I really killed somebody. Think about what that's going to do. That's doing to his mental psyche. Instead of us, I feel like as a society, I've noticed, well, he or she was wrong, throw him to the wolves. And instead, we don't show support and say, look, he made a mistake, or she made a mistake, they made a mistake. Let's help them grow and be supportive. We should be supportive of both sides of both parties. For example, I know this is different, but Dante Starworth. I think Dante Starworth was involved in the same thing. He came back in the NFL for a little bit. It wasn't long. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he killed a pedestrian. I think it was in Florida. Now, I was actually surprised that Ruggs wasn't placed on the commissioner's exempt list or suspended by the NFL. I was surprised. And it's amazing to see, to me, that, see, this is where, again, I'm talking about being supportive. I understand Oakland did what they had to do, because Oakland right now, they're already dealing enough with the John Gruden mess, which is a whole nother story from the video, which is a whole nother thing out of itself. But I would have thought, okay, Mark Davis is going to sit down with him, and they're going to suspend him for the rest of the season, put him on the exempt list. I want to play a clip from Derek Carr. And Derek Carr, to me, has shown leadership.
After Odell,
he has shown me a lot of things. The way how he handled the John Gruden situation, as well as Darren Waller. I want you guys to hear what Mr. Derek Carr has to say.
For the second time in a month, you probably had to stand up in front of your teammates or have some difficult conversations with teammates about something that just lightning bolt basically that hit. What's that process been like, and what's your emotions been like over the last couple of days?
My emotions have been on a roller coaster, so to speak, this year, and my heart goes out so much. Try and say it with a straight face because I've already been emotional about every bit of this. But to the family, to all the families involved, no one ever wants to see this, whether it's a football player or not. You never want to see something like this happen. And, it broke my wife and I's heart, honestly. And, we talked about it a little bit, but I can only talk about it so much, but at the same time, whether it's fair or not, I have to compartmentalize and I have a job to do. These are two totally different situations. Some similar emotions, some very different emotions. But the message has to stay the same. Honestly, I don't want it to right now. If I'm selfish, I don't want it to. I want to say a lot of different things, but we have a game this week and I've got a job to do. And so do the guys in that locker room. And from that aspect, from a football aspect, I hate to talk about both in the same thing, but it's weird. And that's what we're doing. Right. From a football aspect, every man in that locker room kind of feels the same way. But we have work to do. We had to come out and practice. We've had film study Monday and Tuesday, we have, all of these things that we still have to do. Right. And so I don't know the right way to handle it, but I'm doing my best.
You've made a career out of game planning against difficult situations, but inexplicable tragedy doesn't really have much of a game plan. How helpless is that as a guy who wants the control?
Yeah. Just for me personally, in my own life, I've experienced loss. And so I know that feeling. And so my heart first goes to the families that are involved. Okay. When there's things that happen in life for all of us that we don't have control over, and you wish you did. I have 1,000 questions I wish I could ask, but I don't get those opportunities. I don't understand everything and why certain things happen. And I just forever have relied on the foundation of who I am is my faith. And I'm going to stand on that when it's hard, and I'm going to stand on it when it's easy. And that's just who I'm going to be when I can control something and when I can't. And so when it comes to this situation, there's so many things out of our control, but then I do sit back and I think, was there something, did I not let him know that he really could, I'd be there for him at 3 a.m. I want to be better. I think I really look at everything in my life as a learning experience. Could I have been better, to help or something? I just wish I could have done something. I look at it that way. Could I have done anything to help? Even when it seems impossible, is there any little thing I could have done better? And I know it's a crazy thing to even think or say, but I'm always looking at trying to be a better person.
What was yesterday like for you? What was yesterday like for you? Just kind of when the news started trickling out.
It was emotional. When I see things, it's weird when you have kids, how things can be a little bit more emotional than they used to be. That's for sure. Now that I have 4, of my own, instantly my thoughts go to certain places and things like that. And it's hard. It's not easy. I can promise you that. It is a tragic thing. And again, I know as most of you probably even know more than me, but I know as much as I've seen or heard. But I really don't know the right thing to say to somebody. You know, I try my best to be there in support of someone or be there for anybody if I knew who to be there for and all those things. But, you know, my thoughts, I guess, selfishly went to my own kids or my own family. And, you know, how do I teach them, how do I take this and turn it into a learning experience, and things like that, because no one, including Henry, wanted this to happen.
How would you characterize the mental state of this team right now?
From a football aspect, I mean, we're ready to go. You know, we had a great practice. We're dealing with a lot of things this year, that's for sure. A lot of guys, just what a crazy year. You know, I heard that a couple times. I heard, goodness gracious, like, man, just like, can we please, nothing else, not for our own sake, but just for the sake of everyone else, just for everyone involved, but from a football aspect, from a competitive aspect, we're ready to play football. There's no doubt about that. We know where we're at from that standpoint, and we know what we have to do. We know that this was a time of year where we hit a lull a couple times, and we can't let that happen, no matter what's going on. Man, me and 9-1, me and Jan say it to each other every day. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, nobody cares what we're going through, how your body feels. Nobody cares. We gotta do our job, and we emphasize that to each other again today. Hey, I got your back, you got mine. Nobody cares, man. We got to go. And before practice, during practice, after practice, we're always just trying to push whoever's listening. That is it fair? No, because I want to have emotions about things. I want to think about things as a human being. Football is secondary when something like this happens. We're talking about lives and a lot of different lives and a lot of different situations. But for us, from a football aspect, our mindset is we're going to be ready to play. That's for sure.
Just about how tragic this all is, to kind of turn the negative to a positive. You saying the praise of Henry, saying the praise of Zay Jones. Those guys are going to have to step up in a situation like this. Are you really excited to see what this is going to bring out of them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited. I think I've always thought the world of Isaiah. I've always thought the world of Hunter. I've thought the world of those guys. And obviously, Hunter has gotten a lot of opportunities. Now, Zay and our other guys, they're going to get a lot more opportunities. And I am excited for them, because they work so hard. I think a common theme of when I've talked about Zay is how hard he works. And I think you guys have seen it in training camp and how just the relentlessness he practices with. And it's literally every day. He's the hardest practicing person I've ever seen in my life. I am excited for him. Like when he's made plays in the games, you guys hear I talk about him after the game. I'm just so excited for him. Now he has a very big role. The roles change, in the NFL quickly, and his role has changed just along with some other guys' role today, and prepared for this moment.
Before the bye,
Okay. So that was Derek Carr, because he started talking more about the game upcoming this weekend. I have mad respect for Derek Carr because he sees both sides of it. I'm 26, and I'll be 27 soon. And there are days where I ask myself, well, why did this happen, or why did that happen? What could have happened if this was this or this was that? And this should be a learning experience for everybody. For example, look at Michael Vick with the whole dogfighting thing. Even though he wasn't on those properties, they ratted him out. And Michael Vick, in my personal opinion, should be a coach, quarterback coach, in my opinion, head coach. But I feel like that is what's going to keep him out of opportunities to be a coach. I feel like this is an opportunity for Henry to learn and grow from the mistake that he made. Instead of us, I've noticed as a society that I wouldn't say cancel culture. We should have some form of forgiveness, but also too, this is a teachable moment. You know, hey, you know, you're drunk. Let's get you a Lyft, an Uber. You know, and I know the argument is going to be, you know, that's his choice. He made that choice, but that's not the point. The point is that if you're out and about in public, and I've said this, you got to be smarter with your decision making, especially you got to move differently. If you want to have a couple drinks, maybe one, maybe two, that's it. I mean, what he said wasn't selfish, because he also looked at it like, you know, how could I use this moment to show my kids when they get older? How can I use the situation for myself, and how can I help the next person not be in the situation? But to wrap this up, I mean, our thoughts and prayers, man. I mean, for his family, her family, the victim, and Henry himself, because I mean, we don't know. He has to live with this, but also too, we have to be better at supporting him through it. But also too, he has to take accountability, but being supportive and helping him learn and grow from this, because I believe he will. And that's that. Aaron Rodgers is the next topic. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID-19. Now, first and foremost, I just want to say thoughts and prayers to Aaron. I hope he's well. I hope he's doing okay. But Aaron Rodgers should have been upfront with what was said, because he was asked particularly about, you know, where are you with the vaccination thing? And his response was, yeah, I'm immunized. Like, I'm going to play the clip. Here's the video. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why it acted like that. So here's the question.
Are you vaccinated? Yeah, I've been immunized. You know, there's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys.
Okay, so had to look up the definition between vaccination and immunization. So vaccination is, according to the definition of, there's a couple different, well, they're kind of the same, but vaccination employs vaccines to stimulate the body's own immune system to protect a person against subsequent infection or disease. Immunization is the process where any person is made immune or resistant to an infectious disease, typically administered of a vaccine. Those are two totally different things. We don't know I think it's how it was said, because now look at the Packers. Devontae Adams had to sit out. Adam Lazard, now Aaron Rodgers. I think their defensive coordinator Joe Barry had to sit out. I think it's more of, why would you say that and then turn around and say something different? Because it's very confusing to me. Like, he ladies and gentlemen, he honestly and truthfully, I feel like, personally lied. He should just been up and honest. Like, listen, whether you are that's your decision, whether you're vaccinated or not. Just be upfront. Just be real. Don't beat around the bush and say, well, I'm immunized, when I think the question that was asked was straight up, was straight up for real. Because now, here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers could potentially miss a couple of games. Now, do I think he should not? Now, let me just say this. I want you guys to understand my point, where I meant this earlier, and I said, pay attention to when I said distinction between how the media dictates, controls, and spins the narrative. Notice I first and foremost, I thought it was a bit much, okay, to compare Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers in the same breath. Stephen A, I want to call him out, because when Kyrie made his decision about not getting the vaccine, Stephen A, the delivery was a bit much. Kyrie Irving hasn't played basketball because, one, he's standing by his principles. He said he's not getting the vaccine. And, he understands the consequence of that choice. But here's the difference, okay? Aaron Rodgers was wrong of just not being upfront. But with Kyrie, I get where Stephen A has a point with certain things about Kyrie. It's the way, he's been very inconsistent off the court, and we've never held Kyrie Irving to that. Particularly, ever since he's left Cleveland, he didn't exceed expectations in Boston, and you got Kevin Durant and James Harden in Brooklyn, and they're not the same team without Kyrie Irving. Let's just call that what it is. But it's notice how the tone delivery, and you can look back at the video, how Stephen A was kind of calm about it. Even though he said he shouldn't have been suspended. But with Kyrie Irving and Lamar Jackson, you kind of got this, how, the tone was different. Tone in your delivery when you're trying to make a point is a big difference, because pretty much you're saying, well, Aaron Rodgers is wrong. It should be, there needs to be this, there needs to be that. Be consistent and keep the same energy, I think, is the point that we're all that I think that Jay Williams was trying to make, and others too that see it. Because I really feel like Stephen A was right, got called out on First Take, and all we're really trying to say is like, hey, listen, he is right about Kyrie not. There's always something that keeps him off the basketball court. Jason Williams, Jay Wright is so that there's a different situation. This is a different type of. There shouldn't be like take away the vet. Like, okay, we're gonna take away the other stuff, but the biggest thing, the biggest point that I'm trying to make is Kyrie Irving has never lied about it being vaccinated. That's the biggest difference between the two situations. It's one thing behind closed doors if Aaron Rodgers said, yeah, I'm going to get the vaccine. But it's another if he was in public and said, yeah, I'm not getting it. That's the thing point people are missing. And it's just, I just feel like this. If you're going to vilify Kyrie Irving, why don't you keep the same energy with Aaron Rodgers? Does that make sense? Like, be consistent when you're making arguments. Like, Aaron Rodgers, yes, and he's upset because his vaccination status got leaked. Aaron Rodgers should have just been upfront. Like, we shouldn't have to get to the point where we're going to make this assumption, yeah, I'm immunized. That wasn't the question. Because to me, that shows kind of him being arrogant. Now, potentially, I'm not going to go as far as say hurts the Packers, but right now they got to play against the Chiefs. I don't know what's going to look like the next week or two. Kirk Cousins. I got to give Kirk Cousins some love, even though he's robbing the NFL of that fat ass contract he's getting. That's paying him $161 million. Kirk Cousins said, he's demonstrating leadership by he got vaccinated for the good of the team. Aaron Rodgers wasn't honest. Now, again, I have been very vehemently clear, and you can go back and look. It is your choice. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I have been consistent in saying do the research and educate yourself on these things, ladies and gentlemen. It's documented. But we shouldn't be getting to this. But the fact that he would go that far in saying that and then being caught in the lie, I think that's not cool. That's not cool. Because the Packers, again, I'll give you a great example. The Ravens had to deal with it last year. The Denver Broncos had 3 quarterbacks that couldn't play. I mean, I just want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, look at how the media has been calm and cool. Look how particularly Stephen A. was calm and collective on Aaron Rodgers. But here's Kyrie Irving, Lamar Jackson, and other athletes, and he's been all on their asses. They've been crucified. Now, listen, I don't have anything personal against Stephen A. I have said Stephen A. is one of many journalists that have gotten me interested in pursuing this dream. There are things I don't agree with those Stephen A. things, and that's okay. We can be diverse in thinking. But again, I just want you to understand the distinction. Jeremy, what's good, bro? What's good? Good to see you. So I just want you guys to understand that. Okay. So around the league, around the NFL, the Jets lost. So Jordan Love will be starting for Aaron Rodgers. The league is going to be investigating Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers will be fined, not suspended. I do think some eyebrows will be raised, though, in that locker room. Odell Beckham Jr. was excused from practice again. You know, it's amazing to me that it's easy to make Baker Mayfield the scapegoat. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Awesome. Doing awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well yourself. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm hanging in there. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jeremy. I really do. I like OBJ. I just don't think it's bigger than Baker Mayfield. I just think it's Cleveland. I just think it's the team. I think it's not what we thought they were. And even no matter where he goes, we don't know what we're going to get out of him. I don't know where he could possibly go. I don't know. So, I mean, that's what I saw so far from the news. Von Miller is now a Ram. You say he woke up, he went to bed. He woke up 7-1. Von That's very funny. Very funny, Von Miller. Let's transition into the Washington football team. The Washington Wizards, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the Washington Wizards lost to the Toronto Raptors. 109-100. Well, I feel like the 3-point shooting, we're winning in spite of that. I still see some areas that we need to improve on. I'm hoping that Bradley Beal will continue to pick it up. He's doing the best. I see where the team can go as far as what it looks like so far. But the 3-point shooting has been really interesting, to say the least. As a cohesive unit against Toronto, we were 8 of 32 from 3. I'm trying to remember what happened in the game. The fourth quarter, the start of it, that should have been goaltending on Toronto. We got a tech, and then an offensive foul that was weak. Had that not happened, we'd have cut it to 5. And it was a 12-0 run against us. We outscored their bench 34-19. We were just that bad. Bradley Beal is, he's going to do his thing out there. He had 25 points. The bench was key, but the shooting, 3-point shooting. Bertans has an ankle sprain. He probably will be out for the rest of the week. Really, honestly, truthfully, since Indiana, where we shot 50% from 3. The last 6 games, we've shot lower than 40%. That's mediocre. And those 6 threes in Bradley Beal, Raul Neto, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, don't get me wrong, the team, it looks great, but missed calls and poor shooting, we lost. That's what lost us the game, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, just going into the first quarter, offensively, we were slow. We had shot 46% from the field. We started off the game 1 of 6. Like, then we got to play those Memphis Grizzlies. We got to see John Morant and the boys. Kyle Kuzma, Bertans, Cassius Winston, Thomas Bryant, and Rory Hashimura are all out. Kuzma's questionable, and I think Dylan Brooks, as part of the injury report, is out in this game. Both Boston and Memphis come in this game 5-3. We're gonna have an interesting time slowing down John Morant, who's having like so far an all-star season. He's averaging 25 and 5 and 7, averaging, I'll say, 2 steals a game. He had his first 40-point game and a couple 30-point games. Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., I was going to say Jesse Jackson, and DeAnthony Milton are also in double figures. You're already kind of starting to see the injuries for Washington catch up with us. I know Kuzma had an injury Wednesday. I don't know what that's going to look like. I need more from KCP and Daniel Guilford, all coming back from injury. We got hopefully in this game, particularly the 3-point shooting, will be better. Hopefully we can definitely. There's some things we got to clean up. I'm nervous. I really am. I'm really nervous. I really am. I'm gonna say the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Washington Wizards 101-90.
Guaranteed.
Oh, I didn't put the Memphis Grizzlies banner up there. I apologize. Yeah, I don't think if we can't contain John Moran and we can't clean the things up, particularly when it comes to the 3-point shooting and getting production from KCP, Gafford and the boys, Bradley Beal, Neto, Kuzma may not play. Bertans is probably gonna be out for the rest of this week. The others got to step it up, and if they don't do that, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a long game for us against Memphis. So, Scotty Pippen. I've told people where I stand on this. I have nothing personal against Scotty Pippen. I just don't like him. I just don't. Because I think some of the things that he says, and to me, I feel like, this is just my personal opinion. I think, particularly when I remember watching the the little thing with Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson, where they were best friends, and then when Magic came out and said that he had AIDS, and people were speaking out. I feel like Scotty and them kind of got in Magic ear and saying, I was like, yeah, that's just how I feel. I feel like Scotty played a role in that. I also feel like Scottie Pippen is, to me, an attention seeker, particularly where he, calling Phil Jackson a racist after God knows what, 30-something years later, after winning 6 championships with the guy. And then turning around and now you're feeling some kind of way because you can't get from under Michael Jordan's shadow. Listen, Scottie Pippen is a top 50 player. He's one of the best forwards in the game. Can defend you from 94 feet. Scottie Pippen was one of the reasons they have 6 rings. Michael Jordan, and what's funny to me, a lot of people don't know this, and I don't think Scottie gets it. Before he was drafted with the Bulls, Michael Jordan, they marketed him with his dunks, his shooting. He had to go through Larry Bird and Isaiah Thomas. Some of those early Bull teams that Michael was on, they were getting bounced with the first round. I mean, the one game where he dropped 63 on the Celtics and still got eliminated from the playoffs, it showed that Michael Jordan can't do it by himself. There's no disrespect to, I think he had George Gervin at one point on that team, Kevin Macy. I want to say he had Oakley, Charles Oakley. No disrespect to those guys, but they just weren't enough. But it just seems like Scottie Pippen is just finding ways to continue to burn bridges. Like he in a GQ interview, he talked about how he didn't like the fact how he was portrayed in the documentary, which in the documentary Last Dance, which was the last season winning championships. Now, what's funny, it seems like to me, everybody agreed to do this documentary. Quote, each episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal, his teammates secondary, smaller. The message no different from when he referred to us back then in his supporting cast. They glorified Michael while not giving nearly enough praise to me and my proud teammates, Pippen wrote. Michael deserved a large portion of the blame. The producers granted him editorial control of the final product, and the doc couldn't be more released than otherwise. He was leading man and the director. Michael Jordan did say that Scottie Pippen was the best teammate that he had of all time. And then he also says, quote, Michael was determined to prove to the current generation of fans that he was larger than life during his day and is still larger than LeBron James, the player many consider his equal, if not his superior. And he also proceeded to say that they paid was $10 million for his role and the Bulls didn't get a dime. That's BS. Because the team, to me, it seemed like they agreed with it at the time when they were recording the documentary. First and foremost, is Michael Jordan worried about LeBron James? No. LeBron James can't shine Michael Jordan's shoes. You know, it's amazing to me. And I have nothing against LeBron James. LeBron James is in my top 10, top 15. I would not put him on my Mount Rushmore with all due respect. But Michael Jordan didn't leave franchises to go win championships. Now I know what you want to say. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they didn't give him much to work with. He took a mediocre team to the finals against the Spurs. He went to Miami to win a championship with D Wade. He went back to Cleveland and went to LA. Michael Jordan stuck by with the same team. Larry Bird did it. Magic Johnson did it. Isaiah Thomas did it. Tim Duncan did it. Now, it obviously seems like Scottie Pippen is just because again, you know, he has a book, okay, that's coming out, and late when in the same thing I remember with George Carl when he wrote his book where he made some comments about Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith, who was it, Kenyon Martin Sr., and others. They're going to say things to get people to buy the book. Scottie Pippen is a top 50 player. It's funny, and some things I remember I took. He said, Michael and I aren't even close and never have been, he said. And I think it was in the New York Post where it was after Michael Jordan's dad was murdered in 1993. Pippen never gave him his condolences and says he still regrets it.
Bullshit.
Michael Jordan, when Magic, because remember, when he came in the league, it was Magic and Bird. When Magic and Bird stepped away, it became the Chicago Bulls. Like, this is the same Scottie Pippen that was mad he didn't get the ball and they gave it to Tony Kukoc. Because I think it was against the Knicks where he threw, I don't know what it was. It was, I guess, I don't know if it was an attempt or it was he just threw it in frustration. Because he didn't get the ball. The play was for Tony Kukoc to take the last shot and Pippen to end out it. Obviously, Scotty didn't like that. Phil Jackson had some words. Pippen had some words for him back. The last 2 seconds of that game, Pippen just sat there. Now, again, and I remember talking about this, I can't remember what episode it was, but I'm pretty sure Phil Jackson drew that play up for the Bulls to score, not Scottie Pippen. And let's check this out. I was so hurt when he picked Tony over me and I needed to come up with an explanation for why I was rejected, he writes. So I told myself at that time that Phil's decision must have been racially motivated. Only when I saw my words in print, it dawned on me how wrong was I after 30 years. I mean, to say those things, and I haven't heard Horace Grant, Ron Harper, Dennis Rodman, Luke Longley, John Paxton. I think Robert Parrish was on a couple Bull teams. Come out and say anything bad about Phil Jackson. Why Scottie Pippen? Scottie Pippen, and just for the record, I did some research. Scottie Pippen has made well over $110 million in his career. Michael Jordan has made around $98 million, and that's not including endorsements. What are we talking about here? Apparently, you felt like you were unwanted. You got a 3-5-year deal that paid him $67 million with the Houston Rockets. He had a team that had Akeem Olajuwon and Chuck Barkley. And we all know that, Chuck wasn't the same player and neither was Akeem. So he just wasn't happy. Pippen kind of made it about him. Because I know Pippen wanted to be to LA. Then he went to Portland. And then he played for the Bulls again. The thing is that Michael Jordan doesn't win 6 rings without Scottie Pippen. And Scottie Pippen doesn't win 6 championships without Michael Jordan. It's amazing to me the bitterness that somebody can hold against another person. And to me, again, this is just another prime example of somebody that clearly is looking to get obviously attention for people to go buy his book, but also two, this is he's really burning bridges. He truly is. Y'all could have easily said after when they were filming you guys for the documentary, no, we're not doing that. I just don't get it. I really don't. Scotty Pippen's not overrated. It's just it's amazing. I just don't get what more do you want? And then on top of that, you're probably going to hear some more off the wall stuff about Scottie Pippen. I mean, I wouldn't know how to feel about that. Knowing that, this guy, man, what's the problem? That's crazy. It really is. And I feel like some of these things that he's saying is diarrhea at the mouth. I do. I really do. Around the NBA, not that much is going on. Let me give y'all my scores for today really quick, and then we're going to transition into some baseball news. So it looks like the Sixers, Celtics, Jazz, Suns, and the Thunder were all victors in yesterday's games. We'll get into the Phoenix Suns a little bit. We got the Spurs versus the Magic, Nets versus the Pistons, Grizzlies versus Washington, Cavaliers versus the Raptors, Knicks versus the Bucks, Clippers versus the Timberwolves, Pelicans versus the Warriors, Hornets versus the Kings, Pacers versus the Trailblazers. My picks for today, I'm going to say Spurs, Nets, already did the Wizards and the Grizzlies and Wizards, Raptors, Bucks, Clippers, Warriors, Kings, and Trailblazers will all be victors.
Guaranteed.
Okay, next. The Phoenix Suns. Wow. It seems to get a little messier in Phoenix. There's more allegations of Mr. Robert Sarver. After a report yesterday, ESPN released saying that he's routinely made racial and misogynist comments. It's interesting to hear because why? If Adam Silver was smart, because before this gets even messier than it's starting to sound, he needs to get the owners to issue a sale of the team like they did with Donald Sterling and the Clippers. Now, I know people want to say with the whole Chris Paul thing. Well, Chris Paul played for an owner. Donald Sterling, they knew it was racist. With these other owners, now you kind of have to kind of look over your shoulder because there are some owners I'm pretty sure are doing worse, particularly not just in basketball and other sports too. A couple that I know of. So apparently, this was according to Earl Watson, because Earl Watson was a former coach. He's an interim coach at the time because they had fired Jeff Hornacek. And I remember this game. They were playing the Golden State Warriors. And this is what it was according to what was said. So, why does Draymond Green get to run up the court and say the N-word? This Earl Watson responded and said, "You can't say that." And Mr. Sarver responded, "Why?" Draymond Green says it. Earl Watson said, quote, "You can't effing say that." According to the reports, for the last 17 years, people have said it's been a toxic and sometimes a hostile environment from the article that I read. Others have felt it's been a very inappropriate place to work. There was one part in the article where it said he was passing around pictures. I think of a picture of his wife, and I think it was in a bikini, and making very inappropriate comments about that. If the NBA, if Adam Silver's smart, get that man to sell. Get that man. Get rid of him as owner. My only thing is, particularly because he owns the Phoenix Mercury as well. I have not heard Brittany Griner. I have not heard Diana Taurasi or any member of the Phoenix Mercury say anything, nor do the players. Now, I'm not saying that they don't matter, because they do. And those that have worked for the Suns organization, they all matter. But this is a clear issue where there's clear warning signs and nothing was addressed. Elgin Baylor, when he was working with the Clippers, religiously spoke out against Donald Sterling. Nothing was done about it. Here's an opportunity where there can be some right done here. Because again, it has to be accountability. You can't. It would not faze me if you have other owners like this, that are in these positions of power, and have the same mindset like him. Because you can't change. Listen, you're not born to hate. You're not born to. You are taught those things. And again, the mind is such an interesting thing. And it's amazing to me that, particularly in this society that we're in, this climate that we're in, people would learn to be better than what they are. And it just seems like we just have people that are just stuck in their own ways and won't change. But where you hit them where it hurts the most, it's their pockets. And Adam Silver and the league has investigated it, and I hope that the necessary steps to get him ousted as owner. I really do. That's just disgusting. It really is, because that shouldn't be happening. It's crazy, just crazy. I want to play a clip. Next thing, I'm sure you guys have seen it with Mr. Zion Williamson. This is This is interesting. I'm not going to play this whole clip because I know Turner Sports is going to give me a copyright claim. But here is the clip of Zion right here. It seems like to me he's put on even more weight. You know, I'm beginning to have questions. I know he just came off of foot surgery, and I know the type of player that he could be, but they're saying he's still weeks from coming back. And we shouldn't be at this point. I think he's 22? We confirm that. Is he 22? 21. Where we're having surgery on his legs, his foot, and he's not in shape. Like, when I mean shape, basketball shape, he should be at least 250, 260. And I think the biggest thing is it's really also, too, his camp has to be held accountable. It's amazing to me that nobody in his camp has found ways to get him disciplined when it comes to a regimen, when it comes to exercising and eating. Listen, for example, I'll use me. I think the biggest thing for me is disciplining. I have been better when it comes to learning how to cook more, drinking more water, and exercising. That's key. With Zion, we shouldn't be at this point in his career because he's missed a lot of games because of injury. And he's going to find himself out the league prematurely if he can't get his playing weight down. Because you can't play because again, Charles Barkley has told this story where, Moses Malone told him, the reason why you're not getting the playing time that you need because you're fat and you're lazy. He got Chuck in shape. He got him playing weight. And it's just, there's just nobody to me that's holding Zion accountable and is not helping him get to this point. Because it looks like he's because to me in that clip, that's a problem. He's had no setbacks on the injury, thank God. He had the meniscus tear, and he also had a right knee injury when he was at Duke. I don't know. Y'all let me know your thoughts about Zion, because I feel like, and I believe he will get better at it. I get it, he's young, but I blame his camp. Somebody in that camp of his should
Relationship with your children.
God.
Let's transition to baseball. So, my favorite baseball catcher, Buster Posey, is retiring. 12 years. Buster Posey is a first ballot Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, one of the foundational pieces of the San Francisco Giants, winning 3 championships within 5 years. Caught me off guard, particularly the season they just had where they won 106 games. Comeback Player of the Year, 304, 18 home runs, 107 wins, excuse me. Hit a club option for $22 million that I think San Francisco would have taken.
Guaranteed.
And it's a wrap. Last year he didn't play because he adopted 2 twin girls that were born prematurely in July of last year. He admitted, he said it in the press conference that, you know, he felt the physical toll. You know, let's not forget the many years ago where Scott Cousins ran into him. That was not intentional. Where he, you know, had to get season-ending surgery, ankle, and then he had the season-ending surgery in 2018 on his hip. It's just weird because now the catchers, now this is Joey Bart's spot now, and Joey has some big shoes to fill. I don't think this hurts the Giants. I think this kind of is a shocker because, I mean, they still got Crawford. They still got Belt. I could see if it was next year, it made sense. But I'm shocked. I'm still shocked about it, honestly. So one of my favorite baseball catchers, Yadier Molina, Matt Wieters. Wow. 12 years. Damn, I'm old. But he's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. I wish him and his family all nothing but the best. You'll probably see Buster Posey on TV as a baseball analyst with MLB Network. It was great to see him at the times I could see him, especially when they played the Orioles. Well deserved. Well deserved. So, a couple of things. Got some off-season updates for the off-season. So, it is the 7th. Free agency begins today. I'm actually on the 7th. So, we have that. Teams also have the decisions, have a deadline to tender eligible free agents, and they can give them a qualifying offer, which is $18.4 million, which is a 1-year deal. So, for example, Michael Conforto, plays for the Mets, could give him the qualifying offer, but not Marcus Stroman because he got it last year. You can only get it one time, which is weird to me. Also, too, on the 7th, teams are going to make decisions about options. I know, like the Yankees, for example, Zach Britton, Jose Ramirez, Nicholas Costanzo opted out. Buster Posey's now retired, and I think J.D. Martinez and Craig Kimball. Each player or team has their own decision to make when it comes to opting out the contracts. It's very complicated with baseball. And then we got the Gold Glovers. That'll be announced at some point Sunday. Monday on the 8th. Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, Cy Young of the Year for both leagues, and MVP. The finalists for each, that would be announced. Then between the 9th and the 11th is the winter meetings, the GM meetings, where I think they're going to be in California, from what I read. Pretty much it is where all 30 GMs, they come together and they try to sell free agents to come to their team. And then what else is happening? I think on the 11th, the Silver Slugger Awards are going to be announced. On the 15th, the Hall of Fame ballot for 2022 is supposed to be released. It's just going to be announced who's going to be on the ballot really quick. Let me just name off those names who'll be on there. So we've got Kurt Schilling, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Scott Rowland, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, Todd Helton, Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, Manny Ramirez, Sandy Sosa, Andy Pettit, Mark Burley, Torrey Hunter, Bobby Abreu, Tim Hudson, Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz, Mark Teixeira, Jimmy Rollins, Carl Crawford, Jake Peavy. Oh my God. Have had most of these cats is not getting in the Hall. I can tell you right off the bat, they're not going to put Alex Rodriguez in the Hall of Fame. This is his first year too. Kurt Schilling should get in, but because of his mouth and that's what hurts him. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens will never get in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, because of just performing enhancing drugs, and the fact that Bud Selig and the owners too at the time that still owns, they all turned a blind eye because they made money off these guys. Scott Rowland, no. Omar Vizquel, that's tough. Todd Helton, I think, should make it. But his numbers don't. I think his numbers, because where he hit Coors Field, and then in Colorado. I think Gary Sheffield should be on this list. Andrew Jones, David Ortiz, I think will be in the Hall of Fame for sure. I'd put Jimmy Rollins in there. Yeah, Jonathan Papelbon, Ronnie Uribe. Oh hell no! No disrespect to Ronnie Uribe. No, see that's a joke. No. But back to the dates. Then you've got, after that, the month of November is just busy. Then you've got the deadline to add minor leaguers to the 40-man roster, because there's something called a Rule 5 draft. A Rule 5 draft is where you draft a player on your team, and he has to stay on your team on the main roster. And what happens is, if you, for some odd reason, opt them back, you have to pay a certain amount of money back to that team because you opted them back to either to minor leagues or you cut them. And then also too, we got, I think on December 1st, the deadline to non-tender. So I do expect this off season to be packed and busy. It's going to be a lot of free agents. I'm hoping I'm going to reach out to Nick Rosario, and we're going to get him on there and get his thoughts about it. But yeah, that's what's going on in the MLB world. Guaranteed. Sorry, actually clicked that. My bad. So that's what's happening around Major League Baseball at the moment. Episodes 10 and 11. So episode 10, I will have Rashard Milligan as a special guest on the podcast tomorrow. It's Friday. At about 12, around later this evening today, because it's now 3, almost 4 o'clock. I need to go to sleep. Episode 11, comedian L. Hendricks will be a guest on the podcast. I reached out to him, and that should be a fun interview. I cannot wait for it. That'll be Saturday for episode 11 of the podcast. In episode 10, where Rashard, we're just going to just talk about the WNBA. Some things also with Drake wanting a team in Toronto. I have some issues with that. Oh my gosh. The off season, what to expect, what we liked about the season, what we didn't like. And episode 11 with Hendricks, I'm just going to talk, just want to get a feel, what got him started on YouTube, him wanting to be a comedian and different things like that. And, his drive and what motivates him every day, different things like that. So you will see those episodes tomorrow and Saturday. Also, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, clocks go back this weekend. We get our hour of sleep back. So don't forget to set those clocks back Saturday night. So in closing, I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful Friday. I hope you all stay safe. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you for the support you've been giving me in this podcast. It's been much appreciated. I don't know where this podcast would be without your love and support for this channel. And for me, it's greatly appreciated. Please forgive me if I have not gotten all the episodes on Anchor. I will get those uploaded to you as much as at the earliest of my convenience. I just ask for prayers for me personally. And remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. With that being said, y'all have a good night. I'm going to go to sleep. Stay up, y'all.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys if they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.